Well, good day everybody. This is Chris, an Ancient Scholar. Hope this video finds you all doing well. It is quitting time. The offices are closing down here. Security's probably going to run me out in a little bit. So I thought I'd do a quick video since I have high-speed internet here at my office. And I can get this uploaded in short order. And that is, I want to do a quick video talking about my overall year-long experience with this little guy here. This is the Google Pixel 9. I've had this for almost a year, going on about a week or so. Next week, the Pixel 10s are going to be released with some purported changes, some minor changes for the most part, but some interesting changes nonetheless. And so what I'd like to do is just take a little bit of time to talk about my experience over the last year with the Pixel 9. I have to say that the Pixel 9, in my mind, currently represents the apotheosis of the Pixel project. I think that Google is firing on all cylinders with the Pixel 9 series. This has a lot to offer. It's highly polished. It's been a great experience, and overall, it's an absolutely lovely phone. The overall experience that I have hasn't really changed all that much since my review last year, after getting a couple weeks experience with it. Overall, the operating system is still smooth, fast, snappy. Very few hiccups. It works very well. This does not seem to suffer from some of the problems that the past Pixels have suffered from, where over a course of several months, the operating system would kind of slow down, it would stutter, the camera would have issues. I have had no such issues with the Pixel 9. In fact, it's working about as quickly and as smoothly as it has in the entire time that I've had it. In fact, I dare say that it is actually working better. Of course, a new version of Android has dropped in the last year, although the current iteration of Android is pretty similar to the last one, although the new material, the material expressive is going to be coming out presumably in the next few weeks, and that is going to add some interesting changes to how you interface with the OS, so that'll be interesting. But as it stands now, it's as smooth and as quick as ever. The camera experience is basically unchanged. The same kinds of high quality photos. It's producing them quickly. It's just fine. It's great. In fact, it does suffer in the zoom department. Doesn't have a dedicated telephoto camera like most of the phones in this kind of category, comparing this to like the contemporary base iPhones and other phones. It does crop in a little bit. You get a reasonable 2-power crop, but you don't get any good optical zoom. But it has a nice high quality telephoto and a nice high quality wide angle lens, both at about 48 to 50 megapixels. Great photos, good color, a lot of different options. The AI integration is really good. There are a lot of different AI things you can do. The Add Me feature is really is one of the AI features that I've used. Of course, the Magic Eraser is another one I use quite a bit. And then there's another one that I've used a couple times. Essentially, you can pull out the background and then change it. And so I took a picture of my wife and I against a brick wall and had it remove the brick wall, and then I inserted like a snowy Christmas theme background, and we were able to use that in a Christmas letter. And so there are a lot of options. A great camera. The AI integration is helpful. Really enjoy it. The battery life is okay. I can get, I can get through a full day on this. Over the last 3 months in particular, I've been using this heavily as my work phone in the hospital. I've been doing 16-hour shifts a couple days a week in the hospital, and using this fairly heavily to reference medications, to calculate infusions, to double check things, to look up lab values, things of that nature, send messages back and forth, call, discuss, communicate back and forth with the students that I have in different floors of the hospital. And man, so I've been using it, fairly heavily, doing kind of just the day-to-day stuff, and it gets through an entire 16-hour day with 40+% left. I'm not I'm not gaming on it heavily, I'm not recording videos, I'm not doing a lot of heavy use, but I'm still using it nonetheless, and I'm comfortably getting through a full day without any major issues. So the battery life, I think, has been acceptable. I do run it in a case, and I have a screen protector on, so I can't really comment on how durable the phone has been. And I haven't really had any major drops or falls. Probably the only major issue I had was I had a break-in, and this was one of the things that was stolen when I had my break-in. And they think what happened was the people that stole this realized that I was probably tracking it, and they threw it out of their vehicle, and it landed on the side of the road where I was able to track it. The police were able to find the phone and recover it. And then I had another item. It was a laptop, and I was able to track the laptop to a stash house, and the police ended up doing a raid, and were able to actually get a lot of my stuff and a lot of other stuff for that matter back. But the phone survived that ordeal just fine, no scratches. But again, it had a case and a screen protector. So yeah, the biometrics are as quick and as easy as ever. The camera, using the camera to get in is quick, seamless, works just fine as long as you have a lot of good lighting. If you don't have great lighting, the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is just quick, easy to use, high quality biometrics, so you can route all your banking and all that stuff into it. So it's great. The AI integration baked into this is pretty good. I find the voice dictation is great on this, way better than anything you'll find on the iPhone. And one of the things that I did back before we lost all of our funding and everybody got laid off at my other job was I was using this as my primary translating device. And the built-in translation software into this phone is incredible. Google does a really good job, and it works seamlessly on the Pixel phone. You can download Google Translate onto your iPhone and run it, and you can run it on other phones, but I just find it is superb on this. So prior to the clinic shutting, the care clinic shutting down, I was using this all night long because I'd work night shifts as my primary translating device, and it's just lovely. So it's just a very lovely experience. I do know that people have concerns about the tensor chips and how their raw performance and their benchmark performance is substantially less than a lot of the other flagship and flagship-esque devices, the contemporary Snapdragon chips, as well as the Apple Silicon. But as far as the ability to benchmark and the ability to what you do in real life, there can be a really big delta. And I can say that day-to-day use, I don't notice any differences. It's fast and snappy. In fact, this is feels a lot faster, smoother, and snappier than, say, my iPhone. Now, to be up front, my iPhone's a few years old, and it's a 60 hertz display, and so probably a lot of it is, this has 120 hertz. I believe it switches between 60 and 120 hertz, the display. The display is nice and bright. I think it's 2000 nits of user adjustable brightness, and then I think peak brightness is right around 3000 nits, a little less than that, I think about 2800 nits. But it's plenty bright. It's a plastic OLED, 400 some pixels per inch. So it's crisp, it's sharp, good colors. You have some options. You can boost up the colors a little bit and make it look maybe a little more like a Galaxy phone, or you can make the colors more natural, and so you have the ability to play around with that if you want. So yeah. Really like it. As far as videos go, it does pretty good video. I probably prefer to use my iPhone, mainly because I've got AirDrop on the iPhone, and there just really isn't a great analog to AirDrop on Android. I know there's like the Android file share. It just doesn't work as good as AirDrop, and so I find it's actually easier just to record a video with my iPhone, AirDrop it to my laptop, and then upload it. And that, is maybe one of the pitfalls of this, is that the ecosystem is not like super highly integrated. I guess if I had like a Chromebook, and I was like super into the Google ecosystem, which I kind of am, I all my stuff's on Google Calendars and my contacts and all that, and that carries over. But messages and file management, and if I'm listening to something on my phone and I open my laptop, it all the whole ecosystem is better. It's a better experience with Apple. But that aside, the overall experience has been great on my Pixel, and I have no complaints. So overall, I have to say I'm very satisfied with my Pixel 9 experience. And so that brings us into talking about what's going to happen the next week as far as the Pixel 10. I'm kind of cautiously optimistic, shall I say, just from what I'm hearing. The new iteration of the Tensor should be interesting. They're purporting to have about a 30% increase in performance, whatever that means, just because it looks like, if we're to believe the rumors, it looks like the contemporary chips are going to be made by TSMC, and as we know, TSMC is kind of like the gold standard for silicon, and be using their process. As opposed to, I believe, Samsung is who makes the current Tensor chips. And so yeah, I'm actually maybe more excited about that. Not necessarily because I can game, I can run a lot of games and benchmarks, but I think what that means is that they can have a different and hopefully a much more robust image processing pipeline. And that means that the photographic performance on the baseline Pixel could be much improved. And so the good news is there are a lot of rumors and leaks suggesting that the base Pixel phones are going to have a telephoto lens, maybe a 3 up to a 5 power telephoto lens, depending on what source you go with. It's purported that the quality of the lens is going to be the quality of the lens and the sensor will not be on par with, say the Pixel 10 Pro and Pro XL. I hear somewhere around 10 and a half, 10.5 megapixels. And then the size of the sensor, I don't know off the top of my head. So we'll see. The interesting thing about Google is they have a history of pushing, getting a lot out of their hardware due to the robust image processing pipelines that they have built into the phone, the software, and then the chip and all that, and so that this year that really could shine. Now it is purported that a lot of the other sensors on this camera are going to take a quality hit. They're going to be smaller in actual size and megapixel count. I understand it's not just the number of megapixels, but the actual size and quality of the sensor itself plays a significant role in that. And they're purporting that the size of the actual sensors is going to be smaller. Even smaller than what we have on the current Pixel 9, but can their new image processing pipeline compensate for that and actually produce an even better quality photo while also giving us a high quality or a reasonable quality telephoto option? I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll be curious to see what happens there, and there's always a chance that what we get is completely different. I have to say that I'm not particularly interested in the Pixel 9 Pro or the Pro XL or any of that. I really do. I'm just more interested in the base phones and what the entry level, if you will, phones have to offer. In fact, I'm actually really interested in this will be next year, what the 10A, the Pixel 10A, the 9A was a really good phone. In fact, that's something I plan to do a video on in the future. Is I actually bought a Pixel 9A for my wife to use as her backup phone, and she's a through and through Apple. She had a little Motorola Razr flip phone back in the early 2000s, and then right around the Apple, I think it was right around the Apple 5 is when she finally made the switch to a quote-unquote smartphone from her little OG Motorola Razr flip phone, and that's all she's had since. She had a 5 for a couple of years, and I think ended up having a 7 and then a 10, and now I think she has a 14. I think we're both running iPhone 14s, and so that's all she's ever had. And I got a great trade-in on an old old Pixel 3 XL that I had. With the dual, I actually really like the Pixel 3 XL. I know people didn't like the look of it. I love the dual camera sensor up front, and anyway, they gave me a really solid trade-in on that, and I was able to get a Pixel 9A for her pretty cheap due to that trade-in, and she's actually really had a good experience. I was a little concerned because she's kind of stuck in, all I want is an Apple. I don't want to change. I was like, well, this will give you some extra camera options and another phone if something happens, and okay. And she has really enjoyed her experience with the 9A, particularly the camera experience. She finds that the 9A takes better pictures than her iPhone 14. Obviously, the 14's a few years old at this point, but still. And maybe in the next couple of months, I'll get her on, if she'll let me, and actually talk to her about her experience with Android. It's actually been remarkably positive, and with the Pixel, it's just a stripped down, easy, approachable way of experiencing, or kind of the gateway drug into the Android sphere, and she's gotten on very well with that phone, and she actually really likes it. So we'll see what happens. Would I At this point in time, would I say that you need, if you have a Pixel 9, are you going to see an incredible amount of benefit going to a Pixel 10? With what I'm hearing, I don't know. If they really pull a rabbit out of the hat with the camera and you get a great trade-in, which often you can get a good trade-in, if they give you just an awesome trade-in on the Pixel 9, where you're not paying much for a Pixel 10, and the camera system actually is a fundamental improvement, I would say that you may very well want to consider upgrading. But at this point in time, with the information that I have available, we'll see. I'm very excited to see what they have to offer. The new colors should be really, I always like the base colors, man. This peony color, love it. If the radioactive piss green yellow color, I think it's lemon sage or limoncello, whatever. It looks bold, it looks bright, it looks kind of gaudy, and I'm all about it. So if the camera turns out to be good, I can get a good trade-in, and that gaudy, horrific radioactive piss color is as horrific as I think it's going to be, then yeah, I might be tempted to upgrade. We'll see. All right, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Take care. Have a good time. Bye-bye.